Hi friends, Alan Wellman here. So I had an interesting question that I wanted to address. Um, it had to do with trance and could that potentially lead to demonic possession or evil spirits? And this is also a follow-up to another member's question about attachments and some other evil spirits that I wanted to address. First, I would say that there is absolutely no possibility for spirit attachment or spirit possession. And the reason why I believe this, and this is based off of experience for sitting for trance for literally hundreds, if not over 1,000 times, where or probably more than 1,000 times to be honest, where I have sat for trance or I have given thousands of readings in my development, and never once has there been an attachment, never once has there been any sort of negative energy or anything like that that has come through. And that's because the essence of the spirit communicator, the essence of that is love. If you believe that you are a spiritual being, you have a soul, that soul is connected to the greater matrix. And I don't want to get too metaphysical here, but it's connected to the greater matrix of creation. The ability for us to communicate with another spirit, another being that's crossed over, is because we are all one. There's one connection. There's one universal mind. There's one source. There's one spirit. And if there is one spirit or one universal mind, it could not possibly create something that could destroy itself. For instance, if we believe, and my experience and many of my students will also say this, but my experience is that the essence of the spirit world, of the spirit communicators, is that of love. There is this overwhelming feeling of love, this overwhelming knowing that we are one. And if the universe, God, source, spirit, whatever your name is for your divinity and or your sense of the divine, if that is love, it could not possibly create something that would destroy itself, something evil. Now, and I'll even follow this up with the idea of we all have personal volition, meaning we can make choices for ourselves that are either according to natural law or against natural law. Law is a universal principle, it is the guiding force. It is neither bad nor good, it just is. And so we can then create choices that either flow with that or against it. Now, where we come into a little bit of trouble is this idea that um, that there's somehow the boogeyman, or there's somehow the devil or demons that are out there somewhere. But I ask you to pause and I ask you to think about this rationally. Is there really some demonic entity that is putting things in your way, obstacles in your way? Or is it your imagination, your mind, your creative power that is manifesting these demons, these attachments, these obstacles? I say this I say this with sincerity here because fear is very real, the feeling of fear. However, when we look at what fear actually is, fear is an imagination. You are fearful of something that may happen. Now, fear is based off of prior experiences. Now, those prior experiences, of course, will shape the way we perceive the world. So when we think about demons, when we think about evil, when we think about attachments, that came from somewhere outside of you. Someone told you that you should fear demons. Someone told you you should fear attachments. Now, what happens is when we believe that, when we take it on, our attention goes there and it manifests more of that same thinking. So for instance, if we think about the prehistoric caveman, the prehistoric caveman might hear a lion roar, and he hears that, and then his imagination kicks in. Oh, I need to be fearful of that lion because maybe they've seen a lion attack. Maybe they've seen a lion eating a carcass. Maybe they have been chased by a lion. Whatever's going on, their fear is based on prior experiences. Now, in the 21st century, we have been told what to fear in this life. Hollywood has done a spectacular job telling us we should be afraid. We should be afraid of demonic possession. We should be fearful of zombies. We should be fearful of anything that could happen. You know, of people getting their intentions. Pretty Little Liars and Cruel Intentions and Michael Myers and the Halloween and Freddy Krueger and all of this. So we see that, we absorb it, and then when it's dark out where we can't really see, our senses are limited because of those limitations. We hear a noise or we have a dream, a nightmare. But again, it's all in your imagination. They're not real. Fear is not real. Fear is an imagined thought, an imagined experience that has not happened. So when I have to address people saying, oh, I'm afraid of trance because I'm afraid of demonic possession. So there you go. This demonic possession is the result of being told that there are demons. Now, this person comes from a very orthodox religion where demons are always in charge of the bad things that happen. And so this idea of fearful of possession is naturally going to manifest with that person. Another example is this idea of attachments, or this idea of somehow ghosts or somehow an evil spirit. So again, fear is a very powerful energy. It's a thought, right? And what are thoughts? Thoughts are energy that translate from a picture or an idea that we have, and then it becomes a neurological and physiological experience, right? What happens when we get scared? Our pulses race, our hands get sweaty, we might get a little sweaty. We're doing all of these things physiologically that are in response to something that has not happened. That's the premise behind fight or flight, right? We are fearful that something will happen, so our body is getting ready to respond. But nothing is there to respond to, right? We are having these thoughts. Now, that thought energy can consolidate itself. And if we look at certain events in just the last few years in the world, there's all this fear, there's all this anger, there's all this negative thinking that's going on, which has concentrated itself. And because of that, people become aware of attachments, or they become aware of demons, or they become aware of shadow people that they see. And fear, because it is energy, thought energy, that thought energy can manifest itself and create experiences or phenomenon. However, they are not physical, they're not dense. They are perceptions, they are awarenesses that we may have. However, when you stop feeding the fear, when you stop feeding the energy, when you stop feeding it, you'll find that your attention is not manifesting or creating more of it. How many of us have been to the point in our lives where we look at Facebook and we just, or the news, and we just say, you know what, I can't take any more of this. And then you walk away from it. And suddenly the issues of the world don't seem to bother you because you're not feeding your mind with that. And so, what I encourage you to think about is when you feel that fear, when you feel that fear of sickness, when you feel that fear of spirits or demons or whatever it is that you're afraid of, hauntings, again, it's energy. Ghosts and hauntings are energy of the spirit that used to exist there. And so, what I encourage you to think about is when you see something that is upsetting you, ask yourself, is this real? Second, ask yourself, do you accept this? And third, ask yourself, is this helping you? Or is this actually taking you away from your spiritual journey, from your spiritual truth? Because if you answer those questions and you realize, this isn't helping me, this isn't getting me closer to being the best version of myself, this isn't helping me feel safe or protected or loved, then chances are that's not going to be of spirit. It's not of the divine. It's not of God. And if it's not of God, spirit, divine, whatever your name for it is, then it cannot be in your best interest. And so you can just change your thinking about it. Now, I know that's hard, and for many of us who have grown up in Orthodox faiths or religions, it's hard to break old habits, absolutely. But once you become aware of what you are thinking, you can then change how you think about things. And those of you that know me or have taken classes with me or seen me demonstrate, you know that I am very practical, I'm very grounded, and I approach this work very seriously. And I also know that what I'm doing is for healing, for teaching, for helping others to not only reach their potential, but to also seek and find that spark of the divine within them. Because that's really the essence of who we are. So I don't want to stay on here too long, but I want you to just think about and listen to these words and these experiences, because the universal natural law says that there is one mind, there is one power, there is one driving force in this world, and that is a force for good, with love, in all and through all. And you can use it for your own development, your own being, and your own benefit. So I'm going to leave you today with those thoughts. Feel free to message, feel free to leave a comment, ask questions. I'd love to hear your experiences and your thoughts. All right. Until I see you again, take care.